from Voiceover Social.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. Yes, I'm fine as well. This is the June 2024 edition of the VO Social podcast.
Woo!
What have you been up to?
So it's all been very exciting. We've had quite a busy month. We were at One Voice London earlier on. It's so much fun seeing people in person. It's so much fun. Had a lot of fun. We were sponsoring the event and plugging the Voiceover Social, obviously.
Of course.
And one or two people may have noticed that we also won an award, which is rather exciting. And a particular surprise because we didn't even realise they were running the category this year. They hadn't told anybody, which was, it was lovely actually, because it was just really nice and relaxed until they started announcing it from the stage, which was kind of nice. And they're like, oh, cool, we've been shortlisted, that's cool. And then they announced that we'd won. And I think my brain went into meltdown.
Yes, you gave a rousing speech of expletive, I'm off.
Yeah, I was. It took a few days for that one. I don't even know if it has sunk in yet. But anyway, it was. Thank you to everybody that nominated, shortlisted, voted. However it works, we don't even really see any of that side at all. So,
it was a fantastic weekend, topped off very, very nicely by winning the award. So yeah, thank you to anybody who came to talk to us over that weekend because it was such good fun.
So, and I know we have a couple of new listeners, hopefully, and a couple of new people joining the socials because of chats that we had at One Voice, which is lovely. So keep spreading the word about the VO Social and all the local meetups. And speaking of local meetups, we have a date for the great big Voiceover Social. Woohoo! Tickets are not yet on sale, but we'll be talking about that a little bit more later.
We'll give you a few more details about what we're going to be up to towards the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Little teaser there. We headed over to VO Social Hull. That wasn't in Hull, it was in Barton. That was really nice seeing those guys over there. Nice little cosy pub that we were sat in for the afternoon. The sun was out. The drive over the Pennines was lovely. And we're going to try and make it to some of the other local socials as well.
Yes.
So that was very cool. One thing that has happened, which I do want to highlight, which isn't good news, is Meta are at it again. With their, basically they're trying to mine all our data and train AI with our data. So that's lovely of them. They have, I think it's mainly in the UK, it's rolling out around Europe, and I'm guessing this is going to go globally because, it's Meta. Why wouldn't they do it globally? They've been updating their privacy policy to say that if you agree to these terms, which you are automatically opted in to agree to, that your data can be used to train AI, with which they will no doubt be making billions from in the future. So there has been stuff in our we've posted in the Facebook groups, we've put it into the newsletter as well, how to protect yourself and opt out. You don't need it's fairly quick and simple. It's tricky to find, so there are there's instructions on how to find it, but you only need to put I do not want Facebook to use my data, and then you have to kind of go through their process, and they should email you fairly quickly to say that you are then opted out. It's incredibly annoying that this is an opt-out option or a right to object. It's not even an opt-out. The lack of legislation around AI is deeply, deeply worrying, as I'm sure most people know, but this is yet again something else that we're going to have to be individually proactive about to protect ourselves. So I urge anybody that uses Facebook or Instagram to go onto both platforms, get in there and make sure that you opt out of AI. It's, yeah. So what's coming up, Rob?
Right, in this podcast, we've got 3 things for you, I think. The first thing is we have an interview with a self-promotion marketing guru called Corin Webber. Helen will tell you more about that in a second. We have a panic room, which, as usual, is taken from our Ask Us Anything sessions. And then after those 2 things, we will be telling you a little bit more about the great big Voiceover Social.
Yay! Scream.
And then we'll all go home.
Oh, cool.
So before we get into our big interview feature for this month, Helen, tell us about Corin.
So Corin is someone I have known and have used. Is that the right phrase? I have hired her services on numerous occasions.
I don't know if that's any better.
I don't know. It's really not, is it? I have been aware of Karen for a good number of years, and she has helped us as BWE and the Voiceover Social now with our marketing and promotion and stuff like that. She's been brilliant at helping me do what you guys are basically seeing on our promotion stuff. She is one of the big reasons behind a lot of how we do what we do, and she's a great supporter for me personally. And we now co-run a program together, which we talk about as well. So I thought it'd be lovely to get her on. Marketing is one of those words that, even for me, puts the fear of dread into people, and it's something that every business owner, and as a voiceover you are a business owner, everybody has to do whether they want to or not. So it seemed to make sense to get someone on to talk about it and to talk about doing it in a way that might actually be enjoyable.
Very intriguing. So with no further ado, let's crack on with the interview.
We've had a brief introduction to who Karen is, but I think it would be far easier for you to introduce yourself. So Karen, tell us who you are and what you do.
Thanks for having me. First of all, I feel very honoured to be here recording with you. So my name is Karen Webber. My business is called Goodness Marketing, which is all about marketing that feels good, does good, and gets good results. Feels good because I believe that marketing can be joyous and something that doesn't have to suck. Does good in the world, so does good for the people that it reaches, the people who do the actual marketing, and has a positive effect on the planet. And gets good results, because what is the point of doing marketing if it's not going to help you or your business in some way? I've been running the business for coming up to 7 years. Before that, I worked in a marketing agency for a very long 12 years. My background is in journalism and comms in South Africa, where I lived until 20 years ago. I'm celebrating 2 decades very soon in the UK. So I work with small businesses, with small marketing teams, often with people in businesses who have a bit of purpose about them, or who don't just do what they do for the money, but for something bigger than just getting paid.
We have worked together I say we've worked together. I have hired you, I think let's put it in those terms, on multiple occasions, partly because, I don't know, this might come as a shock to some people because of doing branding and websites, but I never saw what I did for a living as being marketing. So how would you describe marketing? What is it? Even the word makes me want to shudder a little bit. So I'm sure I'm not the only one.
It's a very all-encompassing term for what really is, from where I'm standing, relationship building at scale. It's sharing the information about who you are, what you have to sell, what you care about. It's being valuable in your content, giving people information, the right kind of people. So being quite clear on who it is that you want to connect with, who you want to build a relationship for the purpose of selling eventually, and helping them make that decision. And I think marketing has a bad reputation for being manipulative and forcing people and feeling really gross and telling you should do things this way, or you're wrong if you try to do marketing or self-promotion or whatever in a particular way. When you really think about it, it's connecting with people and sharing and telling your stories about how you can help them.
The reason we got to know each other is because I started basically hiring you to help us with our marketing. I think what was most refreshing to me was that kind of breaking those traditional rules, particularly because my background is in this is where it sounds even more stupid that I don't understand marketing, is because my background is working for advertising and marketing agencies, and you'd think that I would understand it, having spent 15, 20 years working in those kind of places, but actually it just made me feel scared of it.
You are not alone. I think marketing agencies, not all of them, a lot of them are enough to put anybody off any sort of marketing. And any small business owner, any solopreneur starting off having to get clients in any way, what do? We Google the answers to our questions. And who gives the answers? It's the marketing experts. I'm doing bunny ears because this is audio, but it's the so-called experts who put there, and it's the loudest voices that you see top of Google, and then you go, oh, I should do it in this way, like how marketing agencies do it. That doesn't suit most people. British people are known for their politeness, and I class myself as an introvert, but I am happy to speak up and stuff. Maybe that's the South African. I have been accused of being too direct before, which I think South Africans have that sort of thing about our culture. But I think there are lots of intersections with gender, with race, with class, with many intersections that make people feel awkward about standing up and saying, I actually believe in myself and about in my talents and in the opinions I hold and the things I want to say to the world. And I'm going to tell that to the world. So I think when it comes to marketing, there are so many layers that people who need to promote themselves and their work need to work through before they can do it with confidence. So it's not a surprise. Like if you're a British woman with any other intersections, I mean, it's a harder job.
Yeah. Actually, there's one thing instantly that made me think that of us two, and anybody that even vaguely knows me and Rob will know that we don't necessarily conform to what society expects us to be normal. I mean, all your life, Rob, you've never looked what a normal your age man should look like.
No, that's absolutely. But yeah, and that is a way, the way that we look is very much the way we come across in public, and that is part of marketing, is it not?
Exactly, but I think...
I turned that into a question then, did you notice?
You did. I think the big thing when we started working together was actually being given the permission to be me and not having to do it the way that I thought traditional marketing was. And I think even that phrase marketing, it still makes me kind of go, ugh. I still don't like it, Karen.
So how's this for people who like to break the rules? What if we take that label off things and we think about it in a different way? We think about, like you said, how you dress or how you appear or how you introduce yourself to somebody new. All of that is marketing. All of that is conveying a little snippet of who you are, what you're about to somebody in order to allow them to get to know you better. And to go back to your first question, that is marketing. We can take that label off if it offends you.
I think we might have to.
But there is this preconceived idea of marketing is this one thing, and this is how you do it, and this is the blueprint or the formula or the rules. And I really have made it my mission to show people a different way as possible, that people can turn up as themselves, showcase what makes them different. And actually, when they learn to have the confidence to lean into that, that becomes the thing that doesn't... people don't then buy from them in spite of them being themselves. They buy from them because they are different. And I've seen this now for long enough, 7 years on my own, working with hundreds of business owners. I've seen it in my own business and in my clients' businesses. When they lean into that little bit more weird, little bit more nerdy, little bit more thing that makes their soul light on fire, and they show that to the world, is when they become magnetic to the right people.
Yeah. So going off what you've just said, it's not overly uncommon to find voiceovers who will say to you, I don't do any marketing. From what you've just said, they are not correct.
They are, sorry to say if you're listening, wrong. Because everything about you, if you show up in the industry, whether that is on social media and you don't think it's marketing, you think you're just chatting to your mates, anything public like that, if you go to conferences, if you introduce yourself at a networking thing, all of those things will be marketing. How you dress, people form opinions about you. That's your brand. That's the thing that they will take away. And again, that's why I really encourage people to lean into their weirdnesses more and be remembered for, oh yeah, Helen, I met her at the thing. Nice tattoos, helps voiceovers. Everything about you says, everything that you put out into the world says something about you. So for people who say, I don't do marketing, well, you do. You just don't really have that much control or intention about it. So without necessarily putting the label marketing on it, I think it's important to think about, I'm going to go to this event. Who do I want to speak to there? What do I want those people to leave with in their mind about who I am and how I can help them?
Yeah, I think that's been one of the biggest things, certainly when we were working together. I guess two things. One is acknowledging that while there are people out there that are going to be perfect and I would love to work with, there are equally people out there who are going to find the way that I do things absolutely batshit and would just be like the worst possible relationship working wise. It's just not going to gel.
Yeah.
And I think a big one for me is acknowledging that will happen, and that is fine. And
That's
not being
fine. It's a good
scared
thing.
of it. Yeah.
It's about attracting and repelling. There's just as much value in repelling the wrong people, businesses, buyers, whatever, as attracting the right ones. And if you are not courageous enough or confident enough in yourself and in your beliefs to repel some people, where you'll end is somewhere in this bland middle where, sort of like vanilla ice cream, I often use this analogy that if you have to cater for a big group of people with lots of food preferences, intolerances, allergies, that one likes pistachio, that one likes mint, that one whatever, you'll buy supermarket vanilla ice cream, right? Because most people are happy with that. Make it dairy free and then everyone's happy. But nobody remembers a vanilla ice cream. It's forgettable, it's bland.
Yeah.
If you relate that to marketing or content you put out there in the world, it's the sort of thing that people scroll by, they instantly forget, or you meet somebody at a networking event with 10 others, you're not going to remember the vanilla ice cream person. So it's important to get to know yourself and build that courage over time. I'm not saying jump into the chaos pool double-footed, but you can poke a toe in and just gently nudge towards being more memorable in your marketing.
I mean, I think this is a difference with marketing between maybe a lot of where that kind of advice that the agencies give and the marketing that voiceovers are doing is that the agencies are used to dealing with big companies. And so they are teaching people to protect in a way the company brand and communicate in the way that the company does. And so that advice doesn't quite, I don't think, water down to sole traders, people who are running a business by themselves, because there is no essential kind of corporate culture there. Your personality is your brand. Your personality is your business's personality. And so a lot of that corporate speak, whereas it's potentially necessary to teach it to people who are working for a big company, when it's just one person who's running their voiceover from their spare room or whatever, it's a thing which doesn't have to happen because, you know, they are their own brand. They don't need to learn how to speak a different language, essentially. They can just be who they are, and their personality will be their brand, will be their marketing, and their personal interactions will form part of that attraction and rejection or repelling or whatever it was of the clients, potential clients, and never will be clients.
Exactly. I also think it's like the vanilla ice cream thing again. Those big companies want big numbers of clients. The average voiceover can't service, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, like 5,000 clients a year. So why not choose the ones that you genuinely want to work with, the ones who connect with you on a human level you're gonna form a relationship with, that you're gonna get retainer work or repeat business from, and that you form a relationship with that's enjoyable to do the work. It goes back to the conditioning though. There's this idea that everything has to be blood, sweat and tears. Business, marketing, all of this stuff. Here's a revolutionary thought. What if it was joyful? I'm not, like, my head's not in the clouds. I think feel-good marketing can sound a bit wishy-washy sometimes. But why not bring in elements that you do love? Why not make it fun? Whether that is, I don't know, dressing up your photo booth with an amazing chair. I know a voiceover has an amazing, like, regal chair. Why not? Work with lovely people. Find a business buddy or an accountability buddy who you enjoy spending time with. Choose the marketing that you're really good at. Scroll, like, by all means do your research, but find a style and a channel and a format that you love creating.
Okay, so we've spent quite a lot of time thinking about sort of general approaches to marketing and what marketing is and what marketing isn't and things like that, or what marketing isn't necessarily. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are listening who want 3 or 4 very easy things they can do which will help them improve their marketing, their presence, their whatever it is that they're wanting to improve. Give me some bullet points. How can people better their marketing quickly and easily?
My first tip is maybe not as quick and easy, but is to really get clear on who it is that actually books you? Who is the person who needs to say that yes? And then I would say this can be tip 2. Take a look at your existing marketing that you do, because you are doing marketing, as we've established. Look at the places where you hang out and view yourself through their eyes. That can look like Googling your name or Googling the sort of VO work that you do, and see what comes up and how you compare to other people that your ideal buyer will compare you to, and see where you need to make those changes. Is it that your homepage needs to look different? Is it that you haven't updated your Instagram for years? Is it that your calls to action aren't right? Or is it that your contact details aren't present or correct on your website? So get clear on your ideal buyer and then view your marketing through their eyes. And the third point I think people might like doing is identify some things that you're going to stop doing, because I think most people have too many things that they're trying to juggle and they're not doing a good enough job on any of them. So take a look with your knowledge of what you're trying, who you're trying to reach. Go, oh, should I be doing pointy videos on TikTok? Can you just suck that off? And if you're not ready to delete something, like I'm not really on Twitter anymore, X, but I've changed my bio to say I hang out on Instagram. So you can still have the profile, but just signpost people to the place where you're actually active and then double down on that thing. Can I do another point? Please stop over relying on social media.
One of the big things that you have helped me learn for our marketing is the imperfect but done is better than not done at all. And we are our own worst critics by a bajillion %. And nobody else really cares if what we do doesn't quite look as polished or there's a spelling mistake.
Because you're connecting on a human level. I often say the most depressing and the most liberating thing of marketing is that nobody cares as much as we want them to. It's depressing because we want them to go, this is amazing. I'm going to tell all my friends. I'm going to give them all my money. But the fact that they don't do that is quite liberating, because it means we can just show up and do our thing. And more often than not, I've seen that when you're a little bit vulnerable, a little bit more yourself, that's when people connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I mean, I think in terms of website stuff, again, just because that's my ballpark, and that's that I have seen recently about there are certain experts saying that maybe you shouldn't be putting emails and phone numbers on websites. What would be your...
I mean, don't do that if you don't want any more clients, because if you don't have those things on there, nobody can contact you.
That would be exactly my reaction. I mean, I know certainly from when you've been producing stuff, sometimes it's not even about trying to get the client. It's about clients you already have trying to find you.
Yeah, and if you do move house or change your email provider or whatever it is, then just make sure that those details are reflected on your website.
Yeah.
Because so many times back when I was working for a production studio, we'd be trying to get a hold of a voiceover who we wanted to book for work, and none of the details on their website were actually at all accurate, and so they lost out on the job.
Yeah, and I think email signatures, I mean, it's not something that would immediately come into someone's mind when you talk about marketing, but that is somewhere that you can market yourself.
Absolutely. Any awards you've won, link to your website, link to your show reel, all of these things.
Include your phone number on your email address, because these are the basic bit. The easier it is for somebody to contact you, the easier you can make their life, the better, surely. Yeah. So in terms of why we started working together, so last autumn, Karen and I ran a programme, are we calling it, or a workshop? A series of things.
It was a series of workshops that all connected. So, yeah, it was a programme.
So one of the things that I have noticed since working in the VO world is that so much of the marketing and advice out there is either... And I'm not saying this is wrong, it's just that it caters to certain things. So there's a lot of people that will do like, become how to get your confidence up on Instagram or stuff like that. There's loads of stuff about social media. There's loads of stuff about email marketing and stuff like that. But what I've always struggled with, and the benefit that I got from working with you, and one of the reasons I wanted to run this stuff with you, was because there was very little about the mindset of us as individuals and how we can then discover what our marketing thing is in the first place. It tells you how to do a thing, but where do you start with that? So we came up with a thing.
And did we love that thing or what? So we called it Invisible to Invincible, because that's the transformation we hope people would experience, going from sort of hiding in the shadows to actually feeling invincible and so brimming with confidence and brimming with self-knowledge that they were happy to share their story with the world. And we explored that over, was it 6 weeks? We've extended it this time. But
This time we're doing it over 8 weeks. But another thing that I've learned through working with Karen, and one of the things that I've found really valuable, is actually having time to do the work and trying to minimize that kind of overwhelm and allowing ourselves the time to actually put the stuff into practice.
Yeah.
So many of these courses you go on, you just end up with a bigger to-do list and it's horrible.
Exactly. Like, it's so nice when you feel all inspired, but then you leave and you're on your own and you feel a bit overwhelmed because you have all this knowledge, but you can't implement it. So what we tried to do with Invisible to Invincible, and succeeded, was build into the sessions some time for people to actually put initial thoughts onto paper, digitally or not, and make some progress already, and to let it percolate between sessions.
Yes.
So that they actually really make progress. It's not just 6 weeks of new knowledge. It's actually, I started at one point, and at the end of the program, I'm further along in the journey, and with really good other people. I think that sense of camaraderie was wonderful to see. And I know some of the first cohort have gone on to form little accountability groups and have done wonderful things off the back of it, which was beautiful to see.
So we are doing, so it will be an 8-week program. There will be a live session 1 week, followed by a co-working session the week after, so that you know that you've got time to do the stuff that we talk about in the live session, and then the following week gives you a bit of thinking time, but then it gives you a week to actually put some of that into practice, and it gives you that space. And yes, we will have our Facebook group will pop open again, which is quite fun and a lovely community in there, and Karen and I will be dipping in and out of that as much as possible, I guess.
Yes. It's wonderful. It's a place where you can come and ask your marketing questions or share any of your learnings or observations, or just see that you're not alone, which I think is very important, because I've certainly felt in workshops, everybody knows more than me. They're so much further along than me, all of these things. And then when you start having conversations with people, you realise nobody is doing it perfectly, despite what they put on Instagram. But yeah, we'd love to see people there. So we're kicking off on the 13th of June. This next one.
So I will put all the links.
All the links will be in the show notes and things,
and stuff.
Oh, I've always wanted to say that.
Karen, what would you say after all the conversations that we've had together? What would be your I don't know if there is a top tip. What is it?
There is one. I think based on what we talked about today, it's about closing your ears and your eyes to the onslaught of advice that will come your way, and just tune into, what am I about? Tune into the people that you want to build a relationship with, and think about their behaviors and how you can connect with them where they are. So rather than following this sort of expert advice, find the advice that fits right with you and then follow that.
Panic room.
2 very quick questions again this month in the Panic Room. These are both taken from Ask Us Anything sessions, which we host every month. In a minute, you'll hear a question directed to me, but this first question is directed to Helen. It was written in the Zoom chat window. The question is regarding migrating to Google Analytics 4. Are there any recommendations or directions you can give of where I can find simple to follow instructions on how to do this?
So, Google Analytics 4, basically, for those that don't know, Google did quite a major update from their Google Analytics, went from 3 to 4. In typical Google fashion, they've made it as complicated as humanly possible to either follow any instructions on what you're supposed to do about it, to understand what the hell the changes are, or to how to apply them to your site. I mean, for a company that specialises in online, they are the single worst how-to guides I have ever tried to read. They are so full of technical jargon. So, James, do not worry that, that you are struggling with this, because I've read a lot of it. And I have to say, it's like, they might as well just talk in code half the time. I mean, and they like to over-exaggerate and make things incredibly complicated for very little reason. And the other thing that I'm currently looking at, and I'm trying to find, there's a few things that I'm looking at that are basically privacy-based analytics. So Google, as I'm sure most people know, the reason it's all free is because they mine your data to within, they just take every bit of information about you, how you shop, how you work your way around the internet. And the reason everything is free on Google is because they get so much monetary value out of your data, selling it to other people. I am trying to find, and I have found a few, but I need to do a bit more digging and research into some privacy-based analytics companies that mean that you can track the movement around your site, but it's not as convoluted and as befuddlingly filled with jargon as Google like to do it, but it also protects your data and your client's data. And the best thing about some of these, it means that you don't need to have the cookie stuff on your website either. So it makes your website a lot faster. It makes it a lot more user-friendly for people visiting. So I am looking at those. The downside is, because they're not selling personal data to everybody, you have to pay for them. So I'm trying to work out where I can find stuff that's at a reasonable cost point as well, because some of them are 15, 20 quid a month that I found, which is probably a bit steep for what you'd be looking at. So yeah, it's an ongoing fun issue.
I sort of put some files on and just use that match loudness in Audition to bring them up to the settings that they wanted. But is there a it seems that everything had to come up considerably from my recording level, but my whole booth and mic and everything are very sensitive. Like, you'll hear my stomach. If it makes a noise, the mic will pick it up. So I don't have it up super loud, but when it comes out, there's plenty to work with. I look at the the output, and it's like chopped off along the top and the bottom when you've done the match loudness, and I just go, it's not how I like files to look.
Sure.
It's just a visual thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah, I mean, yes and no to that. I mean, it is a visual thing. Obviously, if you're looking at it and it's all chopped off and all the rest of it, it's not ideal in a lot of circumstances, depending on how much chopping has been done. The big thing, there's two big things, really. First thing is that just to ensure that you're not clipping. So when you said it's all flat at the top, you're not up to 0 dB. It's kind of hanging around -3, -6, whatever.
3. Yeah.
The other thing to consider is listening to it to make sure it's not distorted, because putting things through a brick wall limiter makes everything nice and flat like that, and it is a good way of controlling the audio and making sure that you can get kind of a maximum loudness out of things. But it has very much been used and abused over the years, and you can really push things and get as much volume out of them as possible, but over a period of time, if you're doing that with long form audiobooks is a little bit different, but if you're doing that over a long period of time for long form audio, it can make it quite tiring to listen to. So it would be easier to listen to actually if that was backed off a little bit and there was a little bit more dynamic range within the material.
Using the spectrograph, I can actually see that it's not slamming it all up. There's certainly the range in there. It's really just that final output looks, if you make a file, it looks very flat, even though if you spread it, it's not
the other
quite
thing
so.
to bear in mind as well, though, particularly for audiobooks, is that if you have a chapter of an audiobook, it will look all flat like that. Because you're looking at like 20, 30 minutes in that much space. Whereas if you actually zoom in and compare it with a 20, 30 second read or whatever, and just open up, so you've got 20, 30 seconds of your audio there, you'll see that it isn't all as absolutely brick wall as it looks when you're zoomed out. So it's scales of kind of what you're looking at and stuff like that as well. So it's not always as bad as it looks when you zoomed right out.
It's time for the big announcement, Rob. It's time. We have a date for the Great Big Voiceover Social. Woohoo! The date for the Great Big Voiceover Social, I'm going to say that a lot is January the 25th. It's a Saturday. The event will be an all-day event, so we're hoping to start around 2 p.m-ish, and we are going into the early hours as late as the bar will serve us until. We have a few thoughts for what we're going to be doing, so we're going to be trying to keep the price as low as possible, and then we've got a few plans for some added extras, which are optional paid-for extras as well.
One of the big optional paid-on extras for you to consider when you're budgeting for this event will be your accommodation.
Yes.
There is no hotel or anything like that associated with the venue that we have, and that is so that you can either go to a 5-star suite, which there is around the corner, or you can find your nearest park bench, which there also is around the corner. It's a very central location.
It is very central, so hopefully that gives lots of cost kind of options for people wanting to book that. The other reason we booked it in Manchester is it's fairly central into the UK, so those guys travelling down from the tops of Scotland can come. It's an easy flight over from Northern Ireland. Manchester Airport is a skip away, obviously, and it's dead easy links from central London trains and things like that, presuming trains are behaving. So we've tried to pick a location that's easy to get to, but also has a good range of different kind of price points on the hotels and stuff like that. We are looking to make it as cost effective as possible. We are going to be adding some extra paid on stuff, which are going to be, it's not a conference. This is what we want to make kind of clear. What we would like to offer are, we're looking to offer some business support add-ons for you and your voiceover business to help either you develop your voiceover career or your business. So we can't announce what those are yet because we need to get everything formally booked. But we are looking to get a few extra things to do. So you can either just come along for the social element of it and have fun with that part, of which there will be a few surprises, obviously, on the day, or there will be some extra add-ons and stuff as well. One of the things like we've had at some of the other socials, like a photographer, for instance, but all that will be confirmed, and when we launch the ticket price, those additional options will also be in there as well.
But in the meantime, 25th of January 2025, we've got an amazing little venue that we're hosting the event in, and they're being
so
super
lovely.
Accommodating. It's a great little space. It's an independent theatre space right in the centre of Manchester. It's based in an old railway arch, in fact 2 old railway arches, and it's a super little venue, and we're sure you're going to love it as much as we do.
Yeah, we're really excited by it. We've managed to find an independent venue, which we're really pleased by, and it's an arts venue as well, so even better to kind of keep it. They have been to a couple of the Manchester Voiceover Socials in the past, so They know us a little bit.
I think that's all we have to say about that, which
I think that's it. But
means it's all we have to say for June.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, if you've made it to the very end, well done. We'll be listing the socials after this bit.
Yes, okay, lovely. We'll see you all in July. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to the Voiceover Social podcast hosted by Rob Bee and Helen Bee from BEE. Sponsored by BEE.
Voiceover Social. Thank you to our guest,
Karen Webber from Goodness Marketing, goodnessmarketing.co.uk.
The socials we have coming up over the next month or so are the Oxford Social, this Thursday, the 6th of June, the Bristol Social, this Friday, the 7th of June, Birmingham Social is on the 15th of June, as is the Manchester Social. The Pint and Rabbit Virtual Social is on Friday, the 21st of June, and the Berlin Social is on Saturday, the 27th of July. More details about all of these can be found on the website, thevosocial.com.
Voiceover Social. All audio production by Rob Bee.
Please like, subscribe and leave a review to help more voiceover people find us. And if you want to email us, it's listen@thevosocial.com.
See you next month. The Voiceover Social.